All right, Mr. Ologunagba, let's move away from the dual politics. So let's look at the national issues. There's a lot going on at the national level. Sometimes it's quite difficult to which one to talk about because the pain points are all over the place. But the PDP candidate, the Labour Party candidate, as well as the incumbent president had all agreed that one thing that had to go was subsidy removal, and then the naira has been floated, and we're seeing all that is going on within the dynamics of the economy. So I want to find out from you, let's talk solutions now. What is the government missing in their whole calculation that you think that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar would have done differently to manage the situation?
Thank you. This is a very, very critical question, and I think this is actually the number one point for every Nigerian, because Nigerians are dying, people are hungry, people can come to work, and life is gradually and surely, except there's a stop, grinding to a halt. Look, the policy thrust of the APC has been ill-advised, ill-timed, and ill-thought out. And we have said this at several fora. Now, governance is here. I think every Nigerian wants this government to succeed. Why? Because it is in the success of the government that we can pursue our own happiness. But this is a government that is impervious to any other suggestion. We take the example of the petroleum industry. We all agreed, and a substantial number of Nigerians agree that subsidy must go. But the question is how? First of all, any government should recognize that the primary purpose of government is the welfare and security of the people. The moment any government fails in those basic things, then of course that government has failed. And the APC at the national level has failed on these two fronts. There's so much insecurity in the country. Lives and properties are not safe. And of course, related to that is that, of course, the welfare of the people have been affected. And the reason is this. When you take a decision on such as removal of subsidy that has a cascading effect all over the country, what you need to do is to have a process, and specifically on the issue of solution. The PDP would have done something differently, which is, we have 4 refineries today, none of them working. And we understand they have a combined capacity of 400 barrels per day, 400,000 barrels per day. What we would have done differently would be that rather than wake up one morning without any plan, without considering what the effect will be, and say, oh, we remove with a fiat the subsidy. What we would have done is to assess the 4 refineries and find which of them is the least in trouble. And then we can give ourselves a 9-month window to ensure that that comes upstream. What does that mean? What do we practice now? It's to take the 400,000 barrels outside the country to refine. Embedded in that is to have the cost of freight, the insurance, the transportation, logistics, and then refining. And when you finish the refining, you bring the same product back. What then happens? You pay the same cost. In addition to that, you have storage at the tank farms in Nigeria. All these costs and all these levels embedded therein like corruption. So what you have done is to take the product out, refine, improve the economy of another country, bring it back at double the cost to us, and then it is passed on to us in the name of subsidy. What we would have done would be to, let's say, for purposes of analysis, we take the 100,000 barrel capacity, and you fix it in the first 9 months. What it means is that the 100,000 barrels per day will be refined locally by one of the refineries.
Right.
What followed thereafter is that there are byproducts that are in hundreds of byproducts from refining. It means those companies that need those byproducts as their raw materials will no longer import. What it means, there will be less pressure on foreign exchange for those companies. And of course, there will be employment by those companies and their employees.
Right.
What does it mean? It means they will be engaged, they will be paying taxes, there will be inflation in the economy, But they didn't do that. And they're not listening to that. And until they listen and ensure that, yes, there are superior knowledge and information that will help the country, we will go this way. Well, you can see the entire relationship. If we can fix only 100,000 barrels today, it means in the next 2-3 years, we will not be refining the 100,000 barrels outside the country. And the cascading effect in terms of positive aspects, in terms of those raw materials and those companies that will be employing other Nigerians will be there. So they look at that.
All right.
On the issue of security, they are not listening to even to the experts. We know that the root cause of the biggest challenge for us in this country was insecurity. That is why we don't have food production, because farmers can't go to their farms. You recall, APC, sometimes under Buhari said, when 43 farmers were killed in Maiduguri, and I think Borno State, somewhere there, they said they didn't take permission. And you ask yourself, where is the government when farmers will need to take permission to go to their farms? In any event, they have always lied to us. They said to us then that there was the challenge of, Anko borrowers came. There's so much food production. And they came to Abuja, created a wooden structure, put in bags of rice on there, and then declared it as pyramid of rice, which turned out to be pyramid of lies. So until they go into the basic, fix the security so that farmers can go to the farms, because indeed, if there was abundance of production as arising from the very fraudulent program of Anko borrowing, which of course is revealing right now, where the CBN sadly became a commercial bank, a retail bank, as against being a banker's bank. This is the problem that the APC has put on in the last 9 years. This government has a duty to begin to look at that, ask for help, and ensure that we can solve these twin problems of security, food production, and of course the welfare of the people.
You know, the beauty of this is, I mean, the opposition should always do its role, give alternative ideas. By the way, we reached out to the APC as well to have a robust conversation, to get responses to some of the points you have made. Perhaps that will happen in the coming days, but as of now, nothing. But let's speak to the current situation we're in right now and how to get out of it. Because you've talked about what could have happened, and I imagine a lot of people will have, things to pick with it. The refineries will indeed have been ready in time, even faster than what this government is doing. What happens to the pre-existing agreements and contracts? You know how litigious these issues can be. But let's speak to how to trickle this down from federal to subnationals, because the PDP controls substantial amount of state itself. And I remember that the APC had said when the PDP governor spoke about state police, and the response of the APC was, how about the state governors account for the monies they're getting from FARC, which have since increased from what it used to be. So let's speak to what the subnationals will do, because the PDP has power, at least in that area, and of course the National Assembly as well, even though it's not majority. And I'd like you to speak to, maybe you can talk about specific state governments and what they're doing in these times to turn the tide of this economic hardship, because whether you like it or not, the state governors also have a major role to play in this. Mr. Ologunagba.
Absolutely, and I agree perfectly with that. Every subnational organ of government in Nigeria have responsibility, and they should be highly accountable. But again, we need to compare like for like. And it's important that we have this conversation so that Nigerians can begin to find out which party indeed have the interests of the people at heart. And let's compare like for like. Go to each of the 10 states of the PDP in Nigeria today. You can ably describe them as oases of development. And I'll start from Oyo State. You've been hearing the last 1 year about commissioning of projects or starting off of projects that are of value to the people. In Oyo State, only about a week and a half ago, there was a commissioning of a 12.9 kilometer dual carriageway from a major part of axis into Oyo State in the capital. What does that tell you? When you have construction of such magnitude, there are cascading benefits to other sectors. Where you have road development follow. So that's an example of the PDP state that is taking action to have money back into the system, to reflect the economy through construction, because the massive construction work will mean more people will be going to be working, more supply chain will be available, people will be providing food for those that are working there, and money will change, and that's how to grow the economy. You don't do hands-on or palliative. Those are temporary. What you need to do is to do construction or other jobs that could have an effect in the productive capacity of individuals in the country. You go to Akwa Ibom State, they have a project called Arise Agenda that covers agriculture, security, education, and they are side of development. You go to Osun State, it's a massive construction site where so many things are going on at the same time. So you can justify those monies, that extra money they're getting. And in the interest of people, in Oyo State, for instance, they have given grants to cushion the effect while negotiation for minimum wage or increment is going on. Ditto for every other PDP state. I challenge any of the APC government to come forward and say, yes, in the last 9 months or so, we have either started a project that could help improve life, or we're commissioning projects. You go to Edo State, which is the key here. The project and the performance of the governor is there. Particularly, for instance, they just unveiled their security architecture in terms of deploying technology to be able to help to identify security challenges in the state. And that is what I think the federal government can borrow from. If you go to Bauchi State, Bauchi have decided to develop special kind of project that allows the government to be able to reach out to the people in the local government in terms of helping them in times of this hunger. So these are all over the government. I need to challenge the APC to say, look, name one state that will be able to do that.